Greetings, YouTube. This is Sixus.
And I'm Evie Septo. Hello.
And today we're going to be discussing, because Link Range Pack 3 is going to be releasing next month, I believe. Which 10 archetypes we believe, 5 from each, should be getting a new Link monster that don't have one already. So, want to begin?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with Amazonas. Amazonas is an archetype that's very old in Yu-Gi-Oh! In fact, I think it was one of the first archetypes, technically.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is... I think it's a deck that has a lot of potential. And we saw that a little bit with, Amazonas Onslaught being pretty good. But it doesn't really contend really well in TCG. But a Link monster, I think, would be really good for the deck, because of one card in particular that gives me a lot of that shows a lot of potential for this format, and that is Baby Tiger. Baby Tiger can just keep resummoning itself each time an Amazonas is summoned, and that's pretty easy to do. So for a Link monster for an Amazonas deck, I would like it to do a few things. Not necessarily tied to anything, but one, it's already going to be easy to summon. But two, it would take two monsters, including at least an Amazonas, or you can make it like two Earth monsters since all of them are Earth. If summoned, I would like for it to special summon a Queen from the deck. I feel like that would be really good. But to make sure it's not abused, because you're basically getting a free monster from the deck by summoning this, which is pretty powerful. Like Needle Fiber, right? To prevent it from being abused, I would put you cannot summon other monsters except for Amazonas for the rest of the turn. And for another effect, I'm not really sure exactly what they would do. They're kind of battle focused, so maybe attack manipulation. But I think if Amazonas gets more than just a Link support and gets like their own fusion spell, since they do have fusions, they just don't really support them very well. It would be nice if they got like their own fusion spell, or maybe this card, whenever it can also not just summon Queen from the deck, but also grab a Poly from the deck maybe. I think that wouldn't be too much to ask for. Just those two things would be very nice. But like I said, I'm not really tied to it doing any specific thing. I think it would be just a decent card, very easy to summon with Baby Tiger.
So, Odd Eyes. One thing I'm surprised is that the first out of Odd Eyes, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, the first one to get support is Galaxy Eyes. I really did not expect that to be the first one to get a Link monster.
No.
Especially given that, Odd Eyes was used by a protagonist, and Red Eyes and Blue Eyes were used by very prominent characters from the original series. But I would say that out of all of them, Odd Eyes need that the most, because they do every kind of summon. You've got Pendulum Summon, obviously, it's an Arc 5 era deck. But then you've got fusions, synchros, X's, even a ritual. It's just like they do all these summoning methods. I think they definitely need one, especially with that. Well, their go-to is Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, which is kind of a problem because that card is limited. So when your entire strategy requires you to have that one, and most likely the Zephyr Metaltron Link monster, because it's also fairly easy to summon and it gives you 3 arrows. It's kind of an issue to bring out, given that if they get rid of it once, now it's your idea. And
Yeah.
The thing is, I think it would work great if he took the exact kind of Link monster that Triple D got, the rival to Odd Eyes, which has the same amount of summoning methods, and therefore that's why that one got it. If you gave
it doesn't have ritual. It doesn't have ritual.
No. But that doesn't really involve the extra deck.
No.
So, here's the thing. If you just made Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh and just changed all the wording on it to Odd Eyes, that would be the exact thing to fix it. It's just like, when it's special summoned, you can pay 1,000, activate 2 Odd Eyes Pendulum monsters from your deck with different names. And If this card would be destroyed, special an Odd Eyes monster from the extra deck or graveyard in defense position. Yeah, that would actually do everything that Odd Eyes would need.
That would be very good, because it would put the Odd Eyes in the spell, the Pendulum Zone, and then it would send itself.
Yeah, because
Search.
seriously, it's just like, if it gets destroyed, bring out any from the extra deck. There's a lot in the extra deck, and all of them are good. Especially if you bring out, like, Vortex Dragon. Meteor Bust would be useful as well. It's just like, you got all... That is really all you would need from the Link monster. It's that simple. But I'm just surprised that the rival from Arc 5 and that Galaxy Eyes got Link monsters before Odd Eyes. So, you're next.
Yeah, well, my next one is Vylon. Now, if you know anything about me by watching Six's videos, you just hear me say it. Vylons is one of my favorite decks. Unfortunately, it's not super competitive, but it is pretty fun nonetheless. I like the idea of it focusing on equips, and I had a great idea involving making 5 different Vylon cards, and we might do that in a future video.
Yeah.
I talk about all of those. But this is just a Link monster that I made, and it's missing some pieces because I had other cards in mind when I made this. But for what it is, I still think it does very good. So it's just kind of generic. It's 2 light monsters, but you had to have at least 1 Vylon. Pretty simple enough to do. When this card is summoned, you can add a Vylon card from your deck to your hand. While you control no Vylon synchros, destroy all Vylon equipped cards equipped to this card after activation resolves. You can tell it's a Vylon card because I said equipped about 500 times already.
So, I'm just going to explain the idea of that one.
Yeah.
So, the idea with the Vylon equipped spells is that if they get destroyed, you can add any Vylon card from your deck to your hand. So, the idea is you can keep doing that, they're going to resolve, and then get destroyed to keep getting you consistency.
If we don't have to run Rod of Silence Chaos anymore.
Yeah.
The unsearchable equip spell. But yeah, you can only control. But the other things I would say, because this effect is so broken with Element, just keep shooting out Vylon tuners from the deck like crazy. To make it fair and to not make it Link spammable and to keep it kind of in archetype, I would say that you kind of need to put restrictions on it. So only control 1 Gamma, so this way you can't make multiple Gammas. Cannot be used as Link material. And while you control this card, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Vylons. So you can't summon another Gamma, forcing you to go into Synchros. This way it keeps it in archetype.
Actually, I suppose you could just simplify that by saying, having it as an effect tacked onto it, saying you can only Synchro summon. That way you don't have to, that way you don't, it won't be able to be used as a Link material. You don't have to worry about them making Mode War of it, and it's less limited than just the Vylon Synchros.
Saves 2 sentences.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the idea. 2 arrows pointing down, and the same thing with the Amazon. It's just 2 arrows pointing down. Things will be fine.
That's going to be the default idea for all of these.
Yeah. If we don't say it, that's probably what we mean. Chances are. But yeah, that's just my idea for it. There's more cards I had in mind with making this, but still, if we were just to get this card, I still would think it would be a great card for the deck.
Yeah. Okay, so Mecha Phantom Beasts. Here's one thing for sure. They're good at swarming. Especially if you can special on Coat Wing, which would give you 2 tokens. You can use Beast O Lion to get a token by sending it to the graveyard. Tether Wolf on Summon can get you a token. And finally, you've got Watten, which can let you just discard a card to get a token. Now, here's the thing. There's plenty of swarming. It would just be better if they had a Link monster of their own to bring out. And given the amount of swarming, you could probably just make it a Link 3, and that would probably work. And not take that much additional effort. Just make it better than Bellcat. Because that one doesn't really help, especially when that doesn't even make Mecha Phantom Beast tokens, so it's not really that beneficial. If you made... It just needs to be a Mecha Phantom Beast monster, really. It needs the ability to either special a Mecha Phantom Beast monster or spawn more tokens, I suppose, as that would help out with some of the additional effects.
It's kind of weird
And,
how many cards they have that they can summon that involve tokens, but aren't named Mecha Phantom Beast. You got
yeah.
Bellcat, the Galaxy Tomahawk, which might as well be a Mecha Phantom
It's a
Beast.
plane. It's a wind machine. Rank 7.
It's
So
also
yeah.
banned, but
Well,
and
yeah,
then isn't
that
there a
too.
rank 9 as well? That
Oh
that
yeah, the Phantom Fortress.
yeah.
Yeah, that
And that sounds more like a field spell name, but
it
whatever.
does. Yeah, and they appear in the artwork of I can't remember the name of that Xyz field spell, but yeah, they appear in the artwork of it. I think it's Xyz territory or something like that. But they it doesn't even have that much to do with them. But yeah, it's just like it would be a okay, yeah, like I was saying, it doesn't need to be Mecha Phantom Beast. It has to have some means of getting monsters to the field, preferably to help you bring out the Xyz or the Synchros in the archetype. And it just needs the typical protection of while a token is on the field, this card cannot be destroyed. It it's that simple. It's just like that would make it better because currently it's just like yes, you can get a lot of materials on the field. Then the question is just, okay, I got the materials, what do I make? It's just like, it's kind of crazy the amount of potential they have, but they don't have a direction to go in.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, this one's more of a boss monster kind of style. Instead of being like a play extender, this is more of a boss, but it can extend plays. This is Magnet Warriors. Now, for the idea I have with this is I can't really think of making a link to one. All I can think about is a Valkyrian retrain. And I think this would be a pretty cool idea. So, it takes 3 rock monsters. Magnet Warriors and level 8 or higher rock monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. I guess I could reword it to where it's only the ones that points to. It wouldn't make too much of a difference, but I guess it would make it more themed with the link arrows and whatnot. Once per turn, you can target 3 rock monsters with different names in your grave and special summon a Magnet Warrior monster from your deck or from your banish pile with a different name. I feel like that would be very good. Just being able to freaking bring back a lot of the monsters you use for its summon, just to make the other Magnet Warriors. During either player's turn, you can target 3 Magnet Warrior monsters with different names that are banished, but summon them, but you do not supposed to summon any Link monsters for the rest of this turn. So similar effects, with the two, but one's more for special summon just one from your deck, different than the ones that are in the graveyard, and then after you do that, then you could summon the ones that are banished. And so the idea is to extend upon that, but as I said, if you use the effect, you can't summon links for the rest of his turn, just to stop spamming, because it's nothing I hate more to see a great card that I love to use get ruined because it is used in a link spam engine. The Grinder Golem, my favorite card, unfortunately. But yeah, basically that's just kind of the idea of it is to be a pretty decent monster. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this: 2500 attack, and it's pretty beefy on its own for being a Link 3, and it can definitely extend plays a lot and protect your monsters as well. It's sort of acting like a field spell with the protection on top of the field spell they already have, which is a pretty decent one. So yeah, that's my idea for it. That's really all I gotta say about it.
Okay, so next up. Hey, remember how Gimmick Puppets got a Link monster?
Oh, why yes, I do.
Yeah, so Quattro got some support. How about showing some respect to his little brother Trey with his Chronomalies? Which I'd say needs support a lot more than Gimmick Puppets. Because,
Yeah.
here's the thing. To my knowledge, Gimmick Puppets didn't really have 4 cards that say you can only summon Gimmick Puppets. Meanwhile, we've got multiple Chronomaly cards that say you cannot special summon monsters except Chronomaly monsters for the rest of this turn. Which is kind of a drawback.
Yeah.
So I think, especially given that the best, back when I played this in was the game Legacy of the Duelist? Not the Link Evolution one, the previous one. The best play I could find is to bring out the rank 4 and the rank 5 because with one of them you can target an opponent's monster, make its attack 0 until the end of the turn. And the other one lets you detach an X6 material, then target one card, one face-up monster your opponent control, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the damage in its original attack and its corner attack. Obviously, these two work together to deal a decent amount of burn damage. Oh, and also, then this card gains attack equal to the amount inflicted. So, that's actually a fairly good strategy, but it requires getting 2x these monsters on the field. When you can't summon anything except Chronolia monsters, this is not possible. You can't do this. So, I think they definitely need this, especially given that their brother Quattro and his gimmick puppets already got not only the Link, but 5 additional cards due to the Legendary Duelist pack. Chronomalies are just there. Took them forever to get Nebula Disc, which made them a little bit more playable. But at the same time, they were just dated. Can we just, do something to make them a little bit better?
All right. Next one is Ancient Gear. Now, if you notice, a lot of these are decks that I've and the same thing goes for sixes as well. Because it's decks that, a lot of decks that we play get Link monsters, like Lab Beast freaking got 2.
Yeah.
But Ancient Gear have not gotten that treatment, even though they've gotten quite a bit of support in the last few years. They just have not gotten their Link monster. And I think that would be a great time for them to make this Link monster and reprint Fusion, just saying,
Yeah.
$35 to $40.
Okay, going back to the amount of support that they have. They got a structure deck, they got support in a main set, then they got support in a Legendary Duelist set.
Why? Why?
They get so many cards, and yet they do not get a Link. They get plenty of fusions to warrant a Link.
Yeah.
We're up to what?
And
4?
really, with most of the time, for what Ancient Gear do, they don't bring out a lot of their fusions at once.
Oh yeah,
it's usually just one.
They really don't need it, but it would help.
Yeah, especially with this effect that I had. And this one's kind of like Amazon's. It's not really formed exactly, exactly like the Vylon and Magna Warriors I've read off of cards I've made. But with Ancient Gear, I don't really have something written down really on a card. But I do have this idea, and I definitely, I wonder why it hasn't been a thing for just a main deck monster even. But the idea is 2 arrows down. It could actually just be 1 down and 1 side. Maybe it has, you can revive it with the trap card. Maybe that could be good, like trains. 2 monsters, including at least 1 Ancient Gear. You can put machine and use gadgets, and it works kind of the same way. After this monster or another Ancient Gear monster is summoned, you can destroy 1 spell and trap on the field. I kind of didn't put targeting there, but I don't think it'd be too broken. I mean, maybe it would, but anyway, that's what the Konami, I guess.
A lot of the ones like Dark Magician and the Dragon Knight have it written that cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effect, so most of the cards at this point already have protection against both.
Right. It wouldn't be too broken. But the main idea is you're not really using this against your opponent's spell and traps, are you? No. With Ancient Gears, you're using it on your Gear Town, you're using it on your Fortress, purposefully destroying them to summon monsters from the deck or hand or graveyard. But basically, you can use Catapult to destroy your own field spell or Fortress, and then bring out 2 monsters from the deck. And that's a really good combo. But it only works if you control no monsters, which is a real hard restriction for Ancient Gears, even though they don't necessarily field swarm. To do some plays, like search for Catapult in the first place, you have to summon Wyvern. So this removes that restriction, but doesn't get you to double monster. But at the same time, now you have this Link monster that can extend and make multiple fusions, which you couldn't do before. Well, you could, but then Links happen. Now you can't do it. But but I would think, just like I said, just to make sure it doesn't get spammed. I don't think this is necessarily as spammable as the Vylon card or the Magnet Warrior one, but I think the restriction should be you can't summon monsters after this, except for machines, not just ancient gears, not like a really hard restriction, but uh, just machines in general. This way, if you're running gadgets or if you're running anything else, Machina, you can still summon those.
I talked about Trey, so let's continue with this family. Granted, Quentin, his boss monster was just Dyson's Field. Not much you can do with that. Actually, at this point, Genoage seems more like it's related to archetype. But yeah, I'm going with the father, Vortrix. Still not sure how to pronounce it. But anyway, he used the Heroic Beasts. I've been using Heroic Beasts a lot in a combination with a Time Thief deck, and a lot of the cards are really good, especially Heraldry Reborn, which is a Monster Reborn, Heraldry Art, which is immediate Xe summon. Unicorn can get one back for a potential extending play to get more materials. Trent-headed Eagle is a good generic Xyz effect, given that you can just target an Xyz monster that's a material, give it to Heroic Beast from your graveyard as material. And the best ones would have to be Leo and Amphisbania. Amphisbania, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, has an easy special condition by discarding a Heroic Beast, which works with Leo, which whenever it's sent to the graveyard, by any means, from anywhere, though it is a hard one done, you can add any Heroic Beast from your deck to your hand. That's good consistency. And also the extract lineup is pretty good. I like the way Heraldry Patriarch works. It's a very unique effect. And the C69, 4,000 attack, and if your opponent declares an attack, destroy their entire field. That's crazy. And as you can see with Heraldry Charge, my idea for this one is actually the searching a Heraldry Spell Trap card pretty much replaces the Field Trail, which while having a decent search does lock you a lot into your Heroic Beast and Psychic Xyz. So you can still make Time Thief Redual or Perpetua, but you can't use the rest of the Time Thief support. And as you can see, the way I worded the other effect, it provides some field clearing, which the deck really did not have. As well as I phrased it so that the Leo, because it's a win effect, would not miss timing, and you really like having those in the graveyard. That one, as well as Unicorn, Trainer Eagle, and what's that other one? Amber Conway. But yeah, that's my idea of Heraldry, because I've just been really liking that deck recently.
All right, so my last one is for the Crystal Beast archetype, and it is a Rainbow Dragon retrain. It's an idea that I just kind of threw together. Once again, it's not really structured like the Magna Warriors of Vylons, but the idea is pretty simple. But I think it would work super good for what this is. The main issue with Rainbow Dragon, summoning just regular Rainbow Dragon, is that it's a main deck monster, and you gotta get it to your hand to summon it, unless you're using the trap. But even then, trap. So you gotta wait a turn to do it. And so with a Crystal Beast, Rainbow Dragon retrain, it would have the effect of obviously counting as an Ultimate Crystal God, or whatever they're calling it now. And basically, it would be very similar to how you would bring it out with Crystal Beast. Obviously, it would be like a Link 4, maximum of Link 5, because we don't have anything above Link 5 right now. But I'm sure it's possible. But I would prefer it not be Link 7. I prefer it be possible to bring out. That would be a little obnoxious. But anyway, the idea is that you not only can Link summon this with monsters on your field, but also in your monster zone anyway, but also use Crystal Beast in the Spell and Trap Zone as well as material to bring it out. And this idea is kind of drawn from the deck I played a little while back, and I still have it built. Is a True King Crystal Beast, and that's a a pretty similar idea there is actually some using them from the spell and trap zone for something, and it's basically it takes 4 Crystal Beast, and I would have its effects be similar to Rainbow Dragon. The fusion kind of had the same concept going for it, but because this is still much easier to summon, I think it shouldn't be as broken as like a quick effect, tribute it, shuffle everything back to the deck. No. An idea I had was just like an attack manipulation one by sending a Crystal Beast from your deck to the grave. I think this is great because not only are you increasing your attack by the sent monster, like Rainbow Dragon similarly does, but also you're filling up your graveyard with Crystal Beasts that you didn't have already in there. And you just sent 4 of them from your field to the graveyard. So you've got 5 at this point, at least, ready to summon out the regular Rainbow Dragon. But also have another effect where you can banish all Crystal Beasts from your graveyard, and then shuffle all cards, or shuffle cards on the field into the deck per card that was banished. So you've got one effect that increases attack and fills up your grave, and once it's loaded, then you banish everything and then shuffle. As a balancing thing, I think it would be good instead of saying up to the number. Well, then again, it's Crystal Beast. No, just freaking banish as many as you want. Not all of them to do the effect. You can banish 2 or 3 if you want to. If you got 5, it doesn't matter. And then just shuffle a card on the field into the deck per card banished. So permanent removal of your Crystal Beast basically for the cost of this new boss monster. And would it be broken if it had 4,000 attack and did this?
I don't think we have a precedent as to 4,000 attack link monsters.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, it's hard limited to Crystal Beasts to summon it. So, I'm not against it. I mean, I just want Crystal Beasts to be really freaking good. And I feel like instead of giving them a link to, that doesn't help them at all, because they don't extra deck. They don't do it. So I feel like your best bet is rather than focus on the basic thing, is to go all out with the retrain of Rainbow Dragon, and just make it crazy good. Make it what Rainbow Dragon was supposed to be in the first place.
And the final one I'm going to be talking about is Bujin. This is a deck that I would really like to see more support. Most recent one was as the Pendulum Monster Hiruki, which, yeah, actually does help with bringing out Amaterasu without using 3 materials, which definitely speeds up the process. And can be useful with a monster that, one of the Xyz monsters that you are usually effective. But the thing is, Fire King got 2 support cards, and they were side-by-side Megatons. So, why not give some support to the Bujins? And again, I'm just thinking with, similar to the Fire Fist, 2 cards. First one would be a Link 1, takes any Bujin monster. When Link summons, press on a Bujin Beast Warrior from your deck in defense position, and during your phase, target a Bujin card in your graveyard, add that to your hand. So, obviously, this way, if you start like with the Rabbit, the Turtle, or one of the other ones that you like having in the graveyard, but you really need a Beast Warrior to do anything, this way you can just use it to bring this out. It's going to go to the graveyard, it will bring out Yamato, then Yamato's effect would activate in the end phase, which, because that one sends a Bujin from your hand to the graveyard, this one will be able to recover that one you discarded. That way, you can not only do that, but also recover the Beast Royals. And get multiple uses out of Crane, so I think that would be really good overall for the deck. And the other one I'm thinking is a Link 2, and this one will just take 2 Bujin monsters. I like how, for the most part, the deck is very isolated. The only outside support card you would use would be Tenki, and, well, since we're in Link format, they don't have links yet, Firefang Dumadol, and Hippo Singun, which kind of help, but still aren't that useful, I think. Hippo Singon. It can recover a light monster from your deck, from your graveyard, which is useful. But the problem is, it doesn't give immediate advantage. Same thing goes for Doom with All, which isn't even light, so it can't even be protected with Honest. Now these, because they're light Beast Royal Boojins, would be able to be protected by pretty much everything in the deck. Now, this one you could banish a Boojin monster from your graveyard, special a Boojin with a different name from your deck in defense position. That way, after you link summon, you can always go ahead and start setting up for a Xyz play. Given that the entire deck is level 4, making rank 4s really easy. And if a Boojin monster you control destroys an opponent's monster or a battle, target one of your banished Boojin monsters, return that to your graveyard. This helps with just getting them back into the graveyard. Which, currently the only other one I can think of that does that would be... yeah, Onward Shirasu. Which, yeah, that's good, but again, that one was so difficult to bring out due to taking 3 materials that they had to make a specific Pendulum monster just to turbo that card out. But anyway, yeah, that's the last one I have. Yeah, so anything else?
No, I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, so these are our 10 suggestions as the ones that should get support in the next Link Range pack. So yeah, thanks for watching.